your weight is making getting pregnant feel impossible, you are not alone. My client Latifah was 370 pounds at 6'1", managing PCOS, and had been diagnosed with diabetes and high blood pressure. She had taken so many pregnancy tests, she lost count. And every time, same result, one line. Her doctor warned her it'd be nearly impossible for her to get pregnant at this weight, and that struck a nerve. After her doctor told her that raw truth, it hurt, but it also triggered something in her to do something about her situation. A year later after that conversation, she's down 100 pounds, she's reversed her diabetes and high blood pressure, and she's managing her PCOS. And most importantly, she was able to start her beautiful family with her husband, and she has a 2-year-old daughter right now. So many of the women that I work with have built a beautiful, successful careers. Attorneys, directors, executives, successful business owners, leaders in education. But the one place they haven't found success is in starting a family. Here's exactly what we did to make it happen for Latifah and what it could mean for you. You've built a life that runs off effort. Whatever you do, you're good at it. You solve the problems other people can't. You are the one who doesn't miss. You're the one that figures it out when everyone else is stuck. And that's exactly what makes things so confusing. The thing you want more than anything else right now isn't responding to effort. You tried harder, you've researched more, you've done everything right, but your body still isn't responding. Maybe you've been trying for a year, maybe 2. Maybe your doctor has ran tests and mentioned your weight as a factor. Maybe you've heard the phrase PCOS or PMOS. Maybe nothing's been diagnosed at all, and you've just been stuck in the unexplained infertility category, doing everything right with no explanation for why it's not working. Maybe you're preparing for IVF, and you've been told if you lose some weight, that can improve your numbers. And maybe you've watched friends get pregnant without even trying, while you've been charting cycles, timing everything, and still nothing. Here's the part that no one says out loud. You are furious at your own body. You've never failed at anything you put real effort into. It's because the approach that worked for you everywhere else does not work here. Push harder, control more, does not work here. That's next. Here's what no one explained to my client Latifah, so I'm going to explain it to you here in plain English. Carrying excess weight affects your hormones and changes ovulation. Here's why. When your cells stop responding to insulin the way they should, your body makes more of it to compensate. That extra insulin pushes your ovaries to overproduce testosterone. And elevated testosterone is one of the most common reasons ovulation gets irregular or stops happening. Extra body fat adds to the problem too. It actively converts hormones into estrogen right in the fat tissue itself, which throws off the balance your body needs to run a normal cycle. This shows up most visibly in women with PCOS, which is what Latifah was dealing with. But the same pathway shows up in women without diagnosis too, including plenty labeled with unexplained infertility. Then stack years of high stress work on top of that. Chronically elevated cortisol interferes with the signals your brain sends your ovaries every month and throws off the timing your body relies on to release an egg. This part has nothing to do with the diagnosis and has everything to do with any woman under constant stress. Under enough stress, your body will quietly start to deprioritize reproduction. It's not in your head, it's in your biology. And if you're already pursuing IVF treatments, this matters directly. Research on IVF show that women with significantly higher BMIs have less success with IVF than women with lower BMIs. Here's the numbers that matter. Research consistently points to losing 5 to 10% of your body weight as the threshold where things start to shift. In one study, women who lost 5 to 10% of their body weight through diet and exercise saw regular cycles return in 72% of cases. In the same overall pattern, weight loss associated with higher chance of pregnancy has been found in broader studies of women with overweight or obesity generally, not just those with PCOS diagnosis. It's not just about hitting some ideal number on the scale. It's about losing enough that insulin drops, hormone balance shifts, and your body's signaling can start working working the way it's supposed to. That's the same mechanism that shifted things for Latifah and allowed her to get pregnant within 1 year of working with us. The first goal isn't just hopping on a diet. It's blood sugar stable eating. And the goal is specific. Keep insulin from spiking, because chronically high insulin is one of the main things standing between lots of women and a regular ovulating cycle. Here's what actually happens. Every time you eat a meal that's mostly carbs and light on protein, your blood sugar spikes, and your body releases a surge of insulin to bring it back down. Do that multiple times a day for years, and insulin stays elevated more often than not, which keeps feeding the exact hormonal imbalance driving their regular cycles. For Latifah, that looked like rebuilding meals so that every meal had about 25 to 30 grams of protein. And we paired this with whole foods so that her blood sugar stayed steady throughout the day. That's what worked for her body and her schedule. The principle is what matters. Protein first, blood sugar stable, insulin under control. The second pillar is building insulin sensitive tissue. And here's why that matters more than just working out. Muscle is where your body stores and uses glucose. The more muscle you have, the less insulin it takes to manage the same amount of blood sugar. And since excess insulin is one of the main things driving the hormonal imbalance that disrupts ovulation, building muscle is a direct lever against it, not just a side effect of getting fit. For Latifah, that meant resistance training 3 to 4 times a week. Because she has a full-time career, we had to front load it in the morning before the chaos of the day started. But the schedule isn't really the point. The point is constantly giving your body a reason to become more insulin sensitive over time. Lauren, another client of ours, used these same principles to lose 100 pounds. She had PCOS too, along with high cholesterol and diabetes. She lost 100 pounds in 9 months, working full-time entirely online. And she's been medication-free for 2 years now. Neither of them dropped 100 pounds by trying harder at the thing they were already doing. It wasn't about more effort, it was about shifting the system they were following. The third pillar is going to be cortisol-conscious rest and recovery. And here's why it starts with sleep instead of your workouts. There's a common myth that high-intensity workouts are causing your cortisol to spike, and that's keeping you from losing weight. So many women are avoiding high-intensity training, even weight training, sprints, things that are going to really push their body because they believe that if their cortisol spikes, they won't be able to lose weight. But there's a difference between acute cortisol spikes and then chronic cortisol. Acute cortisol spikes, if you run a sprint, your heart rate's going to go pump. Boom, boom, boom. Your body's going to be under stress. Eventually, your heart's going to settle and you're going to come back to homeostasis. The real culprit for your chronic stress is your poor sleep patterns. Even one bad night of sleep raises your cortisol the next day. And an ongoing poor sleep pattern will keep your stress raised around the clock. It becomes a loop. Poor sleep raises cortisol. Elevated cortisol, especially at night, disrupts the deep sleep your body needs to recover. So the more it happens, the harder it is to break. Remember from earlier, cortisol is a part of what disrupts the hormonal signals your brain sends to your ovaries every month. So the goal here isn't punishing yourself with harder workouts. It's protecting your sleep and giving your body actual recovery. And pairing that with lower impact sustainable movements instead of pouring more stress onto a system that's already depleted. For Latifah, that looked like 3 to 4 weight training sessions a week, 1 to 2 miles a day, and prioritizing quality rest to keep her cortisol low. Nothing extreme, just consistent movement that supported her recovery instead of working against it. Put all 3 pillars together: blood sugar stable eating, build insulin sensitive tissue, cortisol conscious rest and recovery. And that's the actual system behind Latifah's transformation. Not extreme dieting, not punishing workouts, a system built around 2 things that were working against her: insulin and cortisol. If you're a woman who leads a team, travel for work, or constantly on the go, you've built a life in your career that you can be proud of. But there's one thing that's missing. You truly want to start a family, and you know losing weight would make getting pregnant a reality. Click the link in my description to schedule a call with myself or someone from my team so we can help you make the rest of your life the best of your life.